How to control your emotions like a Stoic 7 lessons for modern life. Hi there. In today's video, we're diving deep into the ancient philosophy of Stoicism and how it offers 7 powerful lessons to help you control your emotions and navigate the challenges of modern life. Whether you're dealing with stress, frustration, or anxiety, Stoicism provides practical wisdom to stay calm, grounded, and focused. Let's explore these 7 lessons. Lesson 1. Understanding the dichotomy of control. Explanation of the concept. The dichotomy of control is a fundamental idea in Stoicism, introduced by Epictetus. It is the notion that there are 2 categories of things in life: things we can control and things we cannot. This lesson teaches us that our peace of mind depends on recognizing this distinction and focusing our energy on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, while accepting that everything else is beyond our control. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions." Modern application. In today's world, this principle applies directly to how we manage stress, social relationships, and professional challenges. For example, if you're waiting on the results of a job interview, focusing on your performance during the interview and how you prepared is productive, because those are factors within your control. However, stressing over whether or not you'll be hired is futile, as that decision is out of your hands. By understanding and practicing this dichotomy, you can significantly reduce anxiety, frustration, and feelings of helplessness. Practical tip. Make a habit of mentally or even physically listing out what is in your control and what isn't when faced with stressful situations. Focus only on what you can control: your effort, your perspective, and your response to the situation. Example: let's say you're driving in heavy traffic and someone cuts you off. Your immediate reaction might be anger or frustration, but stop and think, can you control the other driver's actions? No, but you can control how you respond. Choosing to remain calm and accepting the situation without letting it disrupt your mood is a practical Stoic application of the dichotomy of control. Reflection. This principle frees us from unnecessary emotional turmoil because we stop wasting energy on things beyond our influence. When we focus only on what we can control, we maintain a sense of inner peace and reduce mental clutter. Dealing with emotional reactions. Our emotional responses are often triggered by external events we cannot control. However, Stoicism teaches that it's not the event itself that disturbs us, but rather our judgment of the event. This idea was famously emphasized by Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This means we can train ourselves to control our internal responses even when external factors seem overwhelming, whether it's anger, sadness, or fear. Understanding that the cause of these emotions lies in our own judgment helps us manage them. Applying the dichotomy in everyday life. At work, let's say you're working on a team project, but your colleagues aren't pulling their weight. You may feel frustrated or angry. But remember the dichotomy of control. You cannot control their actions or attitudes, but you can control your effort and communication. Focus on what you can do to improve the situation, and let go of the frustration over what you cannot change. In relationships, in personal relationships, people often feel emotional pain when they try to change someone else's behavior. A Stoic approach reminds us that we cannot control other people's thoughts or actions, but we can control how we choose to respond to them. Whether it's a partner, friend, or family member, accepting that you can't fix others allows for a more peaceful emotional state. Health and well-being. Imagine dealing with an unexpected health issue. While the diagnosis might be out of your control, how you choose to handle it emotionally and mentally is entirely within your power. Instead of succumbing to fear, you can focus on what actions you can take seeking treatment, following a healthier lifestyle, and maintaining a positive mindset. Emotional mastery through the dichotomy. Understanding the dichotomy of control helps us build emotional resilience. Instead of reacting to every external stressor, we learn to focus our emotional energy on things we can influence. This minimizes the emotional burden we carry on a daily basis. Example of Stoic reflection. In a difficult moment, you could practice what the Stoics called epocha, suspension of judgment. Before reacting emotionally, pause and ask yourself, is this in my control? If it is, what can I do to change the situation or my response? If it's not, how can I let go of the need to control it? This moment of reflection provides a buffer between the event and your emotional reaction, giving you the clarity and power to respond more thoughtfully. Letting go of the desire for control. One of the greatest sources of frustration in life is the desire to control things that are uncontrollable. When we attach our emotional well-being to these uncontrollable factors, we set ourselves up for unnecessary suffering. A modern Stoic lesson might involve accepting that not everything will go according to plan, and that's okay. For instance, in business or personal projects, there's always the potential for failure. But instead of viewing failure as a personal reflection, you can adopt a Stoic mindset by focusing on the effort and lessons learned. Failure is simply part of the process, and controlling your emotional reaction to it will give you the strength to keep moving forward. So, practical exercise. At the end of the day, take a moment to reflect on situations where you tried to control something outside your influence. Write them down in 2 columns. Things I could control, list what actions, decisions, or thoughts were fully within your power. Things I couldn't control, identify the factors that were beyond your influence. By reviewing these daily reflections, you'll develop a deeper awareness of the Stoic principle of control, helping you manage your emotions more effectively in future situations. With this approach, you can apply the dichotomy of control to your personal, professional, and emotional life. It's a simple but transformative way to manage your internal state and avoid unnecessary stress. Lesson 2: Practicing Negative Visualization. Introduction to Negative Visualization. The second lesson is the practice of negative visualization, or in Latin, premeditatio malorum, which translates to the premeditation of evils. This Stoic exercise encourages us to mentally rehearse worst-case scenarios, not to create anxiety, but to train our minds to be prepared for difficulties. Instead of being caught off guard by challenges, we are emotionally ready to face them with resilience. The idea is that when you regularly reflect on possible negative outcomes, you become more capable of managing your emotions when things don't go as planned. This technique might seem counterintuitive in modern times, where positive thinking is emphasized, but Stoics believe that by confronting potential difficulties in your mind, you could better appreciate the present and handle future adversity with calm acceptance. Historical background. Seneca, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, emphasized the value of negative visualization. In his letters to Lucilius, he advised that by imagining what could go wrong, you can better appreciate what you currently have and minimize the shock of unexpected setbacks. He wrote, "Rehearse death. To say this is to tell a person to rehearse freedom. A person who has learned how to die has unlearned how to be a slave. He is above or, at any rate, beyond the reach of all political powers." While Seneca focused on death as a potential outcome to be mentally prepared for, this practice applies to all aspects of life: relationships, health, career, and even everyday situations. Why practice negative visualization? The purpose of negative visualization is to reduce fear and anxiety about the unknown. Many people spend so much time worrying about things that may or may not happen, but by visualizing these outcomes in advance, you become less afraid of them. This practice allows you to emotionally experience the possibility of loss or difficulty in a controlled way, making you more equipped to handle real-life challenges when they arise. For example, before a major job interview or presentation, instead of solely focusing on what could go right, a Stoic would also imagine what could go wrong. You might picture yourself stumbling over your words or being asked a difficult question. By doing this in advance, you reduce the emotional impact if these things actually happen, because your mind has already been there. Practical application. Let's break down how you can apply negative visualization in different areas of life. Relationships. Imagine the possibility of losing a close relationship, either due to conflict or even death. By thinking about this outcome, you not only prepare yourself emotionally for the inevitable changes in life, but you also learn to appreciate the present moment more deeply. This mental exercise can help you cherish time with loved ones without taking them for granted. Work and career. Before embarking on a new project, imagine all the potential setbacks, deadlines missed, mistakes made, or conflicts with colleagues. Mentally experiencing these scenarios ahead of time will make you less likely to react emotionally when challenges arise. By preparing for them, you will be more focused on finding solutions rather than being overwhelmed by the setbacks themselves. Health. Negative visualization can also apply to your health. Imagine a scenario where you are diagnosed with a serious illness or face a physical limitation. While this may sound distressing, this reflection allows you to mentally prepare for life's inevitable challenges. You will be able to confront health issues with more resilience, knowing that you have already anticipated and mentally practiced coping with these difficulties. Enhancing gratitude through negative visualization. Interestingly, negative visualization doesn't just prepare you for challenges, it also enhances your appreciation for what you currently have. By imagining life without certain comforts or people, you become more grateful for them. For example, imagine losing your job tomorrow. This exercise helps you value your current position, even if it's imperfect. Similarly, imagining a day where you no longer have your health makes you more mindful of your physical capabilities today. This practice teaches us to focus on the present moment and appreciate our current situation, no matter how mundane or flawed it may seem. This is a powerful antidote to dissatisfaction and emotional instability. Examples of negative visualization. Let's look at some practical examples of how negative visualization can be applied in day-to-day life. 1. Financial security. Imagine losing a significant portion of your savings or even your job. How would you react? By thinking through this possibility in advance, you can prepare emotionally and mentally for the impact. This doesn't mean expecting disaster, but it can push you to make contingency plans like building an emergency fund or creating alternative income streams. 2. Relationships. Picture a future without someone close to you. Imagine how your life would change and how you would cope with their absence. This is not about morbid dwelling, but rather fostering a deeper appreciation for the people in your life today. You may find yourself more patient and compassionate when minor conflicts arise, knowing that the time with them is finite. 3. Professional setbacks. Before a big presentation or project, visualize potential failures. What if your tech fails, or your client doesn't like the idea? Instead of panicking, mentally rehearse how you will manage these outcomes. This practice will help you maintain emotional control in real time when things don't go as expected. Step-by-step practice of negative visualization. Here's a simple method you can follow to incorporate negative visualization into your life. 1. Set aside time. Begin by dedicating 5 to 10 minutes each day to practicing negative visualization. This could be during your morning routine or before bed. 2. Pick a situation. Think of an area in your life, relationships, work, health, or finances, and consider a potential negative outcome. 3. Visualize the scenario. Imagine this outcome in as much detail as possible. What would it look like? How would it feel? Allow yourself to experience the emotions associated with this outcome, but remain calm and objective. You're not dwelling on it, just acknowledging its possibility. 4. Reflect on your current state. After you visualize the potential loss or difficulty, reflect on your current situation. You might feel a renewed sense of gratitude for what you have right now. 5. Plan for the unexpected. Finally, consider what steps you can take today to be better prepared for these outcomes. This might involve making financial arrangements, mending relationships, or simply practicing emotional acceptance. Emotional resilience through practice. By regularly practicing negative visualization, you're building emotional resilience. The more you rehearse potential negative events, the more prepared you will be when adversity inevitably strikes. You won't be as easily thrown off course by life's challenges because you've already mentally prepared for them. This resilience allows you to approach challenges with greater composure, focusing on solutions rather than emotional reactions. In the same way athletes practice to prepare for competition, Stoics use negative visualization to strengthen their mental and emotional fortitude. You don't practice because you want things to go wrong, but because you want to be ready when they do. Conclusion. Negative visualization isn't about pessimism, it's about preparation. By regularly imagining life's potential challenges, you can reduce the emotional impact when things don't go as planned and increase your appreciation for the present moment. This practice is a core Stoic tool for managing emotions, cultivating gratitude, and living with greater emotional balance. So, with this deeper exploration of negative visualization, you now have a practical tool to manage your emotions and navigate the ups and downs of life more effectively. Lesson 3. Amor Fati, love your fate. Introduction to Amor Fati. The third lesson from Stoic philosophy is Amor Fati, which translates to love of fate. This concept encourages us not only to accept everything that happens in life, but to love it. Instead of merely tolerating adversity, Stoics believed we should embrace challenges as essential components of our personal growth. Amor Fati teaches us to welcome whatever life brings, whether it's good or bad, joyful or painful, with the understanding that everything happens for a reason. As Friedrich Nietzsche, who was influenced by Stoic ideas, said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it." The core idea. At the heart of Amor Fati is the idea that everything we experience, whether positive or negative, is a necessary part of our existence. By embracing life as it is without resisting or wishing it were different, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. The Stoics believe that we cannot change the course of external events, but we can control how we perceive and react to them. When we learn to love everything that happens to us, we align ourselves with the natural flow of the universe. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, encapsulates this concept beautifully. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. This metaphor illustrates how we should use everything that happens in life, both good and bad, as fuel to grow stronger. Acceptance vis. Amor Fati. While acceptance is an important Stoic principle, Amor Fati goes beyond mere acceptance. Acceptance might imply passive resignation, acknowledging that something has happened but not necessarily liking it. Amor Fati, however, is an active embrace of events. It's the radical notion of welcoming and loving everything that happens, knowing that it is all part of the bigger picture. For instance, imagine you lose your job. Acceptance would mean recognizing that the job loss is out of your control and moving on. Amor Fati, on the other hand, encourages you to go a step further and view this loss as a valuable experience. It might lead to new opportunities, personal growth, or even a better career in the future. Applying Amor Fati in modern life. In today's world, many people struggle with change and uncertainty. Whether it's losing a job, facing a health crisis, or experiencing personal loss, the natural reaction is often resistance or frustration. But the philosophy of Amor Fati offers a powerful antidote. Instead of resisting these inevitable changes, embrace them as essential parts of your journey. Let's look at some practical ways to apply Amor Fati in everyday life. Career setbacks. If you face rejection or failure in your career, instead of lamenting your circumstances, view it as an opportunity for growth. Perhaps the setback is guiding you toward a better path or teaching you resilience. Relationships. When relationships end or conflict arises, the tendency is to resist and question why things didn't go as planned. Amor Fati teaches us to embrace these moments as essential experiences that contribute to our understanding of ourselves and others. Health issues. Whether it's a chronic illness or a minor setback, practicing amor fati means accepting the condition fully and finding ways to live with it rather than fighting against it. It might not be easy, but by embracing it, you can focus on what you can do instead of what you cannot. The Stoic approach to hardships. The Stoics believed that hardships were not something to be feared or avoided. Instead, they are opportunities to build strength and character. Epictetus, born a slave and later disabled, embodied this belief. Despite his challenges, he never viewed himself as a victim. He saw every hardship as a chance to practice his philosophy. Epictetus wrote, "Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. This is the path to peace." This reflects the deep trust the Stoics had in the universe and its unfolding. Instead of complaining about what life brings, you see it as necessary and valuable, even if it's painful in the moment. Amor fati and mental resilience. Amor fati fosters mental resilience because it teaches us to stop fighting against reality. The emotional energy we spend resisting or wishing things were different can instead be redirected toward more productive actions. By practicing amor fati, we develop a more profound sense of peace, knowing that everything we experience is part of our journey. For example, if you're dealing with a difficult boss at work, instead of constantly resenting the situation, amor fati encourages you to view the challenge as a way to strengthen your patience, diplomacy, or leadership skills. Every challenge then becomes a chance to grow. Amor fati as a daily practice. How can you integrate amor fati into your daily life? Here are some practical steps. 1 morning reflection. Each morning, remind yourself to embrace whatever the day brings. Say to yourself, "I will welcome everything that happens today, good or bad, because it is part of my path." This simple affirmation sets the tone for the day. 2. Reframe negative events. When something goes wrong, instead of immediately reacting negatively, take a moment to reframe the event. Ask yourself, how can this challenge help me grow? What opportunity does this present? This shift in perspective allows you to approach difficulties with a more positive mindset. 3. Journal your reflections. At the end of each day, journal about what went well and what didn't. Reflect on how you reacted to the events of the day. Did you embrace challenges or did you resist them? How could you practice amor fati more fully next time? 4. Express gratitude for challenges. Practice gratitude not only for the good things but also for the difficult ones. Thank the universe for the lessons that come with hardship. By expressing gratitude for life's challenges, you reinforce the Stoic mindset of loving your fate, living in harmony with the universe. One of the most profound implications of amor fati is that it aligns you with the natural flow of the universe. The Stoics believe that everything in nature happens for a reason, and that by resisting events we create unnecessary suffering. By loving your fate, you accept your place in the grand order of things. This idea can be especially helpful in moments of loss or grief. When you experience loss, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a relationship, or an opportunity, it's natural to feel sadness. But through the lens of amor fati, you can begin to see the loss as part of a larger plan, helping you come to terms with it more peacefully. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This reflects the Stoic belief that everything that happens is part of a greater design. By accepting and loving our fate, we live in harmony with nature. Example of amor fati in action. Let's imagine a situation where you've been passed over for a promotion at work. The natural reaction is frustration or disappointment, but amor fati teaches us to embrace this setback as part of our journey. Perhaps this missed promotion allows you to seek opportunities elsewhere or develop skills you hadn't considered before. By loving your fate, you remain calm and proactive rather than bitter or defeated. Conclusion. Amor fati is a powerful Stoic tool for emotional control. By loving everything that happens to you, you become more resilient, grateful, and at peace with life's ups and downs. This mindset not only helps you deal with adversity, but also allows you to appreciate the present moment more fully. As you practice amor fati, you will notice a shift in how you respond to challenges. Instead of resisting or dreading them, you will welcome them as essential parts of your personal evolution. It's not always easy, but with time and practice, you'll find that loving your fate is the key to living a more balanced, fulfilling life. Lesson 4. The Power of Voluntary Discomfort. Introduction to Voluntary Discomfort. The fourth lesson in Stoic philosophy focuses on the practice of voluntary discomfort. This involves intentionally putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to strengthen your resilience and ability to control emotions. By voluntarily experiencing discomfort, Stoics believed we could better prepare ourselves for inevitable hardships in life. The idea is that when we intentionally expose ourselves to discomfort, the real challenges of life will not seem as daunting. This practice builds both physical and mental fortitude. Seneca, one of the leading Stoic philosophers, practiced voluntary discomfort to toughen himself against life's hardships. In his letters, he wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" Through this, he meant that by living in self-imposed poverty or deprivation for a few days, one can realize that life's worst-case scenarios aren't as bad as they seem, reducing fear and emotional distress. The purpose of voluntary discomfort. The primary purpose of voluntary discomfort is to train your mind to face challenges with greater ease. When you deliberately face hardship, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, you build resilience. You prove to yourself that you can endure much more than you think. This Stoic practice is particularly relevant in today's world, where many people seek comfort and convenience, often to the detriment of their emotional resilience. By embracing discomfort intentionally, we learn to become comfortable with discomfort, and as a result, life's inevitable setbacks feel less overwhelming. For example, if you train yourself to live without luxuries from time to time, losing those luxuries either through a life event or by choice won't cause as much distress. Physical practices of voluntary discomfort. One of the most common ways to practice voluntary discomfort is through physical challenges. These could include cold showers. Taking cold showers is a simple yet effective way to expose yourself to physical discomfort. It builds mental toughness. And when you willingly face the discomfort of cold, you train yourself to endure other forms of discomfort in daily life. Fasting, going without food for a set period of time, can help you understand that hunger, while uncomfortable, is not catastrophic. This practice develops patience and control over impulses. Exercise and endurance. Engaging in physically challenging activities such as running, hiking, or intense workouts helps build resilience. When you push yourself beyond your physical limits, you also strengthen your mental resolve. Example: imagine starting your day with a cold shower. The initial shock may be uncomfortable, but over time you build tolerance and the discomfort becomes manageable. This daily exercise helps rewire your brain to face challenges without overreacting. Mental and emotional discomfort. Voluntary discomfort isn't just about physical challenges, it can also be applied to mental and emotional scenarios. For example, stepping out of your comfort zone, intentionally putting yourself in situations that challenge your confidence or make you nervous can be a form of voluntary discomfort. Whether it's public speaking, meeting new people, or taking on a challenging project at work, these situations help you grow emotionally and mentally. Facing rejection. Seek out situations where you might face rejection, whether it's in your personal life or career. Rejection is uncomfortable, but practicing how to handle it strengthens your emotional resilience. Example: let's say you have a fear of public speaking. You can practice voluntary discomfort by starting with small public speaking opportunities, such as presenting in front of a small group or even practicing in front of a mirror. Over time, this discomfort becomes easier to handle, and when you face more significant challenges, you are mentally prepared to manage the emotions that come with them. Why choose discomfort in a world of comfort? In today's modern world, It's easier than ever to avoid discomfort. We have access to immediate gratification, convenience, and comfort in every area of life, whether it's fast food, entertainment, or social media. While these conveniences are helpful, they also create a barrier between us and emotional resilience. By constantly seeking comfort, we become fragile in the face of real-life challenges. The Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort is a powerful antidote to this problem. By periodically stepping out of comfort and facing controlled discomfort, we toughen ourselves for the difficulties we will inevitably face in life. The benefits of practicing voluntary discomfort. Here are some key benefits to practicing voluntary discomfort. 1. Increased gratitude. When you experience discomfort voluntarily, you gain a greater appreciation for comfort. After fasting, even a simple meal becomes something to be cherished. After enduring cold showers, warm water feels luxurious. Practicing voluntary discomfort regularly helps you develop gratitude for the things you might otherwise take for granted. 2. Resilience in the face of real challenges. When you train your mind and body to endure discomfort, you are better prepared for actual challenges. Life is unpredictable, and hardships, whether physical or emotional, are inevitable. Voluntary discomfort builds the resilience needed to endure difficult circumstances with grace. 3. Control over impulses. This practice teaches you to have control over your impulses and desires. Whether it's the impulse to eat, seek comfort, or avoid discomfort, voluntary discomfort helps you practice delaying gratification and strengthens your self-control. 4. Emotional stability. By practicing voluntary discomfort, you become less reactive to external circumstances. You train yourself to remain calm and composed when faced with discomfort, which translates into emotional control in other areas of life. Example. Let's imagine that you've been practicing intermittent fasting for a few weeks. Initially, the hunger was uncomfortable, but over time, you've learned to tolerate it. Then, one day, you unexpectedly miss lunch due to a busy schedule. Instead of becoming irritable or anxious, you calmly endure the discomfort because you've already practiced it. The emotional stability you've gained from fasting translates into other areas of your life. Step-by-step guide to practicing voluntary discomfort. Here's a simple guide to incorporating voluntary discomfort into your life. 1. Start small. Begin with small challenges, such as taking cold showers or fasting for a few hours. Don't push yourself too hard initially. Start with manageable discomforts and gradually increase the intensity. 2. Be consistent. The key to benefiting from voluntary discomfort is consistency. Choose a practice that you can incorporate into your daily or weekly routine, whether it's fasting, cold exposure, or stepping out of your comfort zone at work. 3. Track your progress. Keep a journal to track how you feel during and after each experience. Over time, you'll notice that what once felt incredibly uncomfortable becomes more tolerable. Reflect on how this practice has improved your emotional control and resilience. 4. Increase the challenge. As you grow more comfortable with small discomforts, increase the challenge. Push yourself to try new things: longer fasting periods, more intense physical workouts, or more challenging social situations. 5. Stay mindful. While practicing discomfort, remain mindful of how you feel emotionally and physically. The goal isn't to push yourself to extremes, but to develop a healthy relationship with discomfort. Embracing discomfort in all areas of life. As you continue practicing voluntary discomfort, you'll find that you are more resilient in every area of life. Whether it's handling financial stress, navigating a difficult relationship, or enduring physical pain, your mind and body will be more equipped to face challenges without being overwhelmed by them. The Stoics believed that we become stronger by choosing to face discomfort rather than avoid it. By making discomfort a part of your routine, you train yourself to live with greater courage, discipline, and emotional stability. Conclusion. Voluntary discomfort is one of the most powerful Stoic practices for building emotional control and resilience. By intentionally facing discomfort, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, you toughen yourself against life's inevitable challenges. This practice not only strengthens your mind, but also helps you appreciate life's comforts more deeply. Over time, you will find that the things that once caused you distress or anxiety no longer have the same power over you. You are in control of your emotions and your reactions, and you are prepared for whatever life throws your way. Lesson 5. Journaling for emotional clarity. Introduction to Stoic journaling. The fifth lesson is about journaling, a daily Stoic practice for reflection, emotional clarity, and personal growth. One of the most famous examples of Stoic journaling comes from Marcus Aurelius, whose private reflections were later published as the book Meditations. Journaling was not just a form of self-expression for the Stoics, but a tool for self-examination, helping them process their emotions and assess their daily actions. The purpose of Stoic journaling is to examine your thoughts, reactions, and emotions throughout the day. By doing so, you gain clarity on your emotional state, allowing you to respond more effectively to life's challenges. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." The purpose of journaling. Journaling gives us the opportunity to step back from the immediate emotional reactions we experience during the day and reflect on them from a more rational perspective. Instead of letting our emotions control us in the moment, writing them down gives us distance. It allows us to analyze how we handled a situation, whether we were reactive or measured, and how we can improve next time. The Stoics used journaling to align their actions with their philosophical beliefs, asking themselves questions like, did I live according to my values today? Was I in control of my emotions, or did they control me? How did I handle adversity? This process allows for a daily course correction, helping you become more self-aware and emotionally balanced over time. Journaling as a tool for emotional control. When you journal, you engage in a dialogue with yourself. You can revisit situations that triggered emotional reactions, anger, frustration, anxiety, and examine them without the heat of the moment. You can ask yourself questions like, why did I react that way? Could I have handled the situation differently? What thoughts or beliefs fueled my emotional response? By reflecting on these moments, you begin to see patterns in your behavior. Maybe you're triggered by criticism or react poorly under stress. Once these patterns become clear, you can work on changing your response in future situations. Over time, journaling can help you become more proactive in controlling your emotions instead of simply reacting to them. Daily Stoic reflection, morning and evening practice. A common Stoic journaling practice involves reflection both in the morning and in the evening. Each serves a different purpose. Morning reflection. At the start of the day, you can set your intentions. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself every morning of the challenges he would face, anticipating difficult people or situations. This practice helps prepare the mind to stay calm and rational throughout the day. Example morning questions. Oh, what am I likely to face today that could challenge my patience or self-control? Oh, how can I apply Stoic principles to stay composed in the face of adversity? Oh, how can I ensure my actions align with my values today? Evening reflection. At the end of the day, Stoics would reflect on how they responded to events. Seneca, in his letters, recommended reviewing the day's actions to see where one lived according to Stoic principles and where one fell short. This is a time for honest self-assessment, not judgment. The goal is to learn from the day's events and improve. Example evening questions. Oh, where did I succeed in controlling my emotions today? Oh, where did I lose control and why? Oh, how can I respond differently next time? By combining morning intention setting with evening reflection, you create a powerful feedback loop that helps you refine your emotional responses over time. The benefits of Stoic journaling. Journaling provides several benefits, particularly when it comes to controlling emotions. 1. Increased self-awareness. By regularly reflecting on your thoughts, actions, and emotions, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself. You become aware of emotional triggers and patterns that may otherwise go unnoticed. 2. Emotional clarity. Writing down your thoughts and emotions helps clear the mental fog that often accompanies stress and anxiety. It allows you to see things more clearly and with greater objectivity. 3. Improved decision-making. Journaling helps you evaluate how well you are living in alignment with your values and goals. By reflecting on your actions, you can make more informed decisions in the future. 4. Emotional regulation. The act of writing about emotions can itself be a form of emotional release. It provides a safe space to express frustration, fear, or anger, allowing you to process these emotions in a healthy way. 5. Growth over time. As you journal consistently, you'll begin to notice growth. Situations that used to trigger strong emotional reactions will start to have less power over you, and you'll develop a more composed, stoic demeanor. Practical Stoic journaling techniques. Here are some practical journaling exercises you can start using right away. 1. The gratitude journal. Begin each morning or evening by writing 3 things you are grateful for. Gratitude helps shift your mindset from focusing on what's wrong to appreciating what's right. 2. Daily affirmations. Write down Stoic affirmations or principles that you want to internalize. For example, I control how I respond to situations. I will not let external events dictate my inner peace. 3. Event reflection. At the end of the day, write about a specific event that triggered an emotional response. What happened? How did you feel? How did you respond? What could you do differently next time? 4. Perspective shifting. When journaling about a difficult situation, try writing from a third-person perspective. This technique helps you detach from the situation and view it more objectively. Example: instead of writing, "I got so angry at my boss today when he criticized my work," right? John received criticism from his boss today. He felt anger rising but knows he cannot control his boss's opinion, only his own response. Next time, he will focus on staying calm and asking for constructive feedback. 5. The future self exercise. Imagine yourself in the future, whether it's 1 month, 1 year, or even 10 years from now, and reflect on how you want to grow. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? How can I apply Stoic principles to evolve into that version of myself? What challenges might I face, and how will I respond? Journaling and Stoic role models. Many Stoic philosophers kept journals as a way to engage in self-improvement. Here are a few examples. Marcus Aurelius, his meditations were his personal journal, never intended for publication. In it, he reflected on his struggles with anger, leadership, and maintaining his Stoic principles in the face of adversity. Seneca. In his letters, Seneca often discussed how he used reflection and writing to maintain emotional control. He believed that by reviewing each day's actions, one could ensure personal growth in alignment with Stoic values. Epictetus. Although Epictetus didn't leave behind a personal journal, his teachings emphasized self-examination. His student, Arrian, wrote down much of his work, including the famous Enchiridion, which stresses the importance of reflection. Conclusion. N. Journaling is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, providing a structured way to reflect on your emotional responses, learn from them, and grow. By incorporating this practice into your daily routine, you'll not only gain emotional clarity, but also improve your ability to stay calm, focused, and rational in the face of life's challenges. Over time, you'll develop a stronger sense of self-control and become more aligned with the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Lesson 6. Memento Mori, remember you will die. Introduction to Memento Mori. The sixth lesson from Stoic philosophy is one of its most profound and sobering concepts, Memento Mori, which translates to remember you will die, far from being a morbid or negative reflection. The Stoic approach to death was deeply pragmatic and aimed at reminding us of the impermanence of life. The idea of Memento Mori is meant to encourage us to live with intention, fully appreciating every moment, because our time on earth is limited. Marcus Aurelius reflected on death often in his meditations. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. For the Stoics, remembering death was not about fear, but about sharpening one's focus on what truly matters, eliminating trivial concerns, and motivating oneself to live virtuously. Why reflect on death? At first glance, constantly reflecting on death may seem counterproductive, especially in modern society, which often avoids or downplays discussions about mortality. However, the Stoics believed that by keeping death at the forefront of our minds, we could live with greater urgency and purpose, avoid getting distracted by insignificant worries, focus on actions and decisions that bring lasting fulfillment, develop a sense of peace about the inevitability of death, removing its emotional power over us. Epictetus summed this up by saying, "What harm is there in your ceasing to exist? You will not be subject to evil, and what does it matter whether you are still here or elsewhere?" The fear of death and how to overcome it. Much of the anxiety and emotional turmoil people experience comes from a deep-seated fear of death. Many live in denial of this eventual reality, which can lead to decisions driven by fear or regret. The Stoic approach, however, is to meet death head-on with acceptance, even love, for the fact that it's an essential part of life. Seneca encouraged us to rehearse death regularly, stating that by doing so, we unlearn the fear of it. The Stoics believed that the fear of death can be conquered by understanding two key points. One, death is natural. Like birth, death is a natural part of the life cycle. It happens to everyone and everything in nature. Fighting against this truth only causes unnecessary stress. Two, death is beyond our control. According to the dichotomy of control, death is something we cannot control. Thus, worrying about it is futile and distracts from living the life we still have. By regularly reminding ourselves of death, we confront our fears and paradoxically liberate ourselves from the constraints that fear imposes on us. Memento mori in modern life. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. People often get caught up in the mundane details of daily life work, bills, and social obligations while losing sight of life's fleeting nature. Practicing memento mori helps us realign with our values and priorities, ensuring that we don't waste time on things that don't matter in the long run. Here are a few ways you can integrate memento mori into modern life. 1. Daily reminders. Use simple, daily reminders to reflect on your mortality. For instance, wearing a bracelet or keeping a small token on your desk with the phrase memento mori can serve as a constant prompt. You can also make it part of your morning routine to remind yourself that today could be your last, encouraging you to make meaningful choices. 2. Focus on what matters. When faced with a stressful situation or decision, ask yourself, if I were to die tomorrow, would this matter? This question can help you prioritize what truly deserves your attention and energy. 3. Appreciate the present moment. Knowing that life is temporary can also deepen your appreciation for everyday moments. Instead of rushing through life, memento mori encourages you to savor each experience, whether it's a conversation with a loved one, a meal, or time spent in nature. 4. Act with urgency. Understanding that time is finite pushes us to act with urgency. Procrastination becomes less appealing when you recognize that tomorrow isn't guaranteed. If there's something you've been meaning to do, whether it's pursuing a passion, repairing a relationship, or starting a new project, memento mori encourages you to act now. Example: let's say you're struggling with a minor disagreement with a family member. Reflecting on memento mori might prompt you to consider whether this conflict is worth holding on to. If today were your last day, would you want this to be your final interaction with them? Likely not. This reflection can help you prioritize forgiveness and reconciliation over petty disputes. Memento mori and gratitude. One of the most powerful aspects of memento mori is its ability to cultivate gratitude. When you remember that life is temporary, you're more likely to appreciate what you have instead of focusing on what you lack. It becomes easier to find joy in the little things: time with family, a peaceful moment alone, or the beauty of nature. This sense of gratitude also extends to difficulties. Stoics believed that challenges and hardships were necessary for growth and should be embraced rather than avoided. When you reflect on the fact that even struggles are a limited experience in the grand scheme of things, you become more resilient in facing adversity. Coping with the death of others. While memento mori helps us come to terms with our mortality, it also aids in coping with the death of others. The loss of a loved one is one of the most emotionally challenging experiences we face. However, the Stoics believe that by accepting death as a natural part of life, we can better process grief. Seneca wrote, "He who fears death will never do anything worth a man who is alive." This reflection reminds us that while death is inevitable, it should not paralyze us or prevent us from living fully. Similarly, the death of others should be mourned, but also accepted as part of the natural order. By embracing this truth, we are better able to celebrate the life of those we lose and carry their memory with us without letting grief consume us. Practical applications of memento mori. Here are a few ways to bring the practice of memento mori into your daily life. 1 daily reflection. Begin or end your day with a brief reflection on mortality. This could be as simple as reminding yourself, "I could die today. How will I live with that in mind?" This helps you stay focused on meaningful actions and decisions. 2. Meditate on mortality. Once a week, take a few minutes to meditate on your mortality. Picture yourself at the end of your life. What do you wish you had done? What are you proud of? What do you regret? This meditation helps you live with greater intention in the present. 3. Write your own obituary. This may sound grim, but writing your own obituary is a powerful exercise in self-reflection. It forces you to consider how you want to be remembered and whether your current actions are aligned with the legacy you want to leave behind. 4. Celebrate life, not just death. While memento mori encourages reflection on death, it's ultimately a celebration of life. Use it as a prompt to make the most of every moment. Spend time with loved ones, pursue your passions, and take bold actions in life, knowing that time is finite. Memento mori and Stoic heroes. Throughout history, the greatest Stoics practiced memento mori as a way to face their fears and live more meaningful lives. Marcus Aurelius, as a Roman emperor, he faced constant political upheaval, war, and personal loss. Yet, he remained grounded by his belief in the transient nature of life. His meditations on death helped him maintain emotional control and focus on his duties. Seneca, despite being one of the wealthiest and most influential men in Rome, Seneca regularly reflected on death. He practiced voluntary poverty and embraced the concept of memento mori to remind himself that material wealth was fleeting and that true wealth lay in virtue. Epictetus, born into slavery and later disabled, Epictetus used memento mori to rise above his circumstances. He believed that death was not to be feared, but to be accepted as part of the natural order, allowing him to live with dignity and purpose. Conclusion. Memento mori is not about dwelling on death, but rather about using the knowledge of mortality to live a more meaningful, intentional life. By reflecting on the impermanence of our existence, we free ourselves from trivial concerns and focus on what truly matters. This Stoic practice helps us prioritize our values, appreciate the present moment, and act with urgency in all that we do. By regularly practicing memento mori, you'll develop a greater sense of peace and purpose. You'll be less likely to get caught up in fleeting worries and more motivated to live each day to the fullest. Remembering that life is temporary makes each moment more precious, encouraging you to live with clarity, gratitude, and focus. Lesson 7. The Art of Indifference. Introduction to the Art of Indifference. The final lesson in our exploration of Stoicism is the art of indifference, which teaches us to be emotionally detached from things that don't directly contribute to our virtue or character. For the Stoics, only things within our control, our thoughts, actions, and responses were considered important. Everything else, such as wealth, status, material possessions, and even the opinions of others, fell into the category of indifference. This doesn't mean Stoics didn't care about these things, but rather, they didn't let them dictate their emotional state. Epictetus, in his Enchiridion, explained this idea. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. The things that are up to us are our opinions, impulses, desires, aversions, in short, whatever is our own doing. The things that are not up to us are body, property, reputation, office, and in a word, whatever is not our own doing. By practicing indifference to things outside our control, we cultivate a sense of inner peace, making us less reactive to external circumstances. Understanding what matters. In Stoic philosophy, everything is divided into two categories. 1, things we can control. These include our judgments, decisions, emotions, and actions. 2, things we cannot control. These include external events, the behavior of others, wealth, health, and material possessions. The art of indifference lies in recognizing that things outside our control should not have a direct influence on our emotional well-being. Stoics considered everything external as indifferent, that is, they didn't inherently possess moral value. What matters is how we respond to them. For example, wealth itself is neither good nor bad. It is indifferent. However, how you use wealth, whether you let it corrupt your character or use it wisely, determines its moral weight in your life. Therefore, the goal is to focus on virtue and let go of emotional attachment to external outcomes. Practical applications of indifference. Let's look at how you can apply the art of indifference in different areas of your life. Wealth and success. Many people tie their self-worth to material success. However, the Stoic approach reminds us that wealth is indifferent. Whether you are wealthy or not does not determine your character. If you gain or lose money, the key is to remain emotionally steady, viewing wealth as something external and impermanent. This doesn't mean you shouldn't strive for success, but your happiness shouldn't depend on it. Reputation and the opinions of others. Many people are deeply affected by the opinions of others, often seeking validation. The Stoics would argue that the opinions of others are outside your control, and thus they are indifferent. What others think about you doesn't change who you are. Your character is determined by your actions and inner virtue, not by external praise or criticism. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." The Stoics believe that you should be guided by your internal compass, not by the shifting opinions of the outside world. Health and physical appearance. While health is valuable, Stoics viewed it as an indifferent because it is not entirely within our control. Illness and aging are natural parts of life. By practicing indifference to physical health, you can maintain emotional stability even in the face of sickness or physical decline. You care for your body as a vessel for your virtue, but you don't let changes in health define your sense of worth. Positive and preferred indifference. It's important to note that not all indifference are equal. The Stoics divided indifference into two categories. 1, preferred indifference. Things like health, wealth, and good relationships, which, although not necessary for happiness, are generally preferable because they make life easier. 2, dispreferred indifference. Things like illness, poverty, and social rejection, which are typically seen as undesirable but do not necessarily harm your virtue. For example, a Stoic would prefer to be healthy rather than sick, but if illness arises, they would not let it affect their inner peace. The same goes for wealth. While wealth may offer comfort, it's not essential for a virtuous life, and losing it shouldn't disrupt emotional stability. Example: imagine you've been working hard for a promotion at work. It's something you desire and would certainly improve your financial situation, a preferred indifferent. However, when the promotion goes to someone else, you practice the art of indifference by accepting the outcome. You recognize that the promotion was outside your control, and while it was preferable, it does not define your character or your emotional state. The role of virtue in indifference. At the heart of the Stoic philosophy is the idea that only virtue is inherently good. Everything else is indifferent. This doesn't mean Stoics are apathetic or detached from the world. Rather, they focus on what truly matters, acting justly, using wisdom, showing courage, and practicing self-control. By keeping virtue as the primary focus, indifference to external things becomes easier. The Stoics believe that when we align our actions with virtue, we find lasting happiness and peace. We stop depending on fleeting external factors, whether it's wealth, fame, or the approval of others, for our sense of well-being. How to cultivate indifference. Here are some practical steps to start cultivating the art of indifference in your daily life. 1. Identify what's outside your control. Throughout your day, take note of situations where you feel anxious, frustrated, or upset. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, remind yourself that it is indifferent and let it go. 2. Detach from outcomes. When pursuing goals, focus on the effort you put in rather than the outcome. If you give your best effort, you've succeeded regardless of the result. The outcome is indifferent, it's your intention and action that matter. 3. Practice internal validation. Stop relying on external praise or recognition to feel good about yourself. Cultivate a sense of self-worth based on your values and actions. Measure your success by how well you've lived according to your principles, not by what others say. 4. Reframe setbacks. When things don't go your way, whether it's a missed opportunity, a lost relationship, or a health issue, reframe it through the lens of indifference. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If not, treat it as a learning experience and an opportunity to practice resilience. Example: let's say you lose a significant business deal or an important client. The natural reaction might be frustration or disappointment, but with the Stoic perspective, you remind yourself that this outcome is indifferent. What matters is how you handled the situation. Were you honest, fair, and diligent? If so, then you've already succeeded in what's truly important, and the external result doesn't define your worth. The benefits of practicing indifference. Here are some key benefits of embracing the art of indifference. 1. Emotional stability. By detaching from external outcomes, you prevent the highs and lows of life from having power over your emotional state. You become less reactive and more grounded in your internal values. 2. Resilience to criticism and praise. You no longer seek validation from others, which frees you from the emotional roller coaster of praise and criticism. Your sense of self-worth is based on your own principles and actions. 3. Freedom from fear and anxiety. When you stop attaching your happiness to external things, you free yourself from fear and anxiety. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or loss, you can approach life with more courage and confidence. 4. Focus on what matters. By practicing indifference to things that don't contribute to your virtue, you can focus on what truly matters in life. Your energy is no longer wasted on trivial concerns, and you can live with greater purpose and clarity. Conclusion. The art of indifference is a powerful Stoic practice that helps you cultivate emotional control, resilience, and focus on what truly matters, your character and virtue. By learning to detach from things outside your control and viewing them as indifferent, you gain inner peace and strength in the face of life's challenges. This doesn't mean being apathetic or disengaged from life. Instead, it means recognizing that external circumstances, whether good or bad, do not determine your worth or happiness. What truly matters is how you choose to respond and how you live in alignment with your values. By practicing indifference, you'll develop a deeper sense of self-reliance and inner calm, allowing you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and wisdom. This completes our 7 Stoic lessons on controlling emotions. I hope these insights from Stoic philosophy will help you live with greater emotional resilience and clarity in your everyday life.